John Mitchell resigned as campaign manager 2 weeks after the Watergate break-in. He served 19 months in jail. He died in 1988. Bob Haldeman was found guilty of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and lying under oath. He was in prison for 18 months and died in 1993. John Ehrlichman was also convicted of conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and lying under oath. He, too, spent 18 months in prison. He died in 1999. John Dean pled guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to obstruct justice. He served 4 months and 5 days in prison. Hugh Sloan resigned from the committee to re-elect the president less than a month after the Watergate break-in. It took him almost a year to find a new job. At the time he revealed the existence of the tapes, Alexander Butterfield was the head of the Federal Aviation Administration. President Gerald Ford fired him. Jeb Stuart Magruder pled guilty to obstructing justice. By his own accounting, he was in prison 7 months, 8 days, and 11 hours. Bud Krogh pled guilty to a charge of conspiracy against the rights of citizens. He served 4 months and 17 days. 2 months after his release, Krogh visited Richard Nixon.
I went to see him in 1974, right after he resigned, to tell him how sorry I was for my activity as part of the plumbers unit. Obviously, he paid an enormous price. We had a long conversation. He wanted to know about prison. What was jail like? Then he asked me a question. He said, should I plead guilty? Now, this was before he was pardoned by President Ford. And I asked him, I said, do you feel guilty? And he said, no, I don't. I said, well, you can't plead guilty. It's not a public relations act. You either feel that what you've done broke the law and you're pleading guilty because of that, or not. I don't think it can be done if you're not sincerely there. And I think the reason he didn't feel guilty was that he still had the mindset of a Cold Warrior. I think he had knowledge about what other presidents had done when they faced national security crises, and that what he did to try to protect his administration was not a violation of the law.
The central question at this point is simply put, what did the president know, and when did he know it?
It is a question that has gone unanswered for 3 decades. But Jeb Magruder, now a retired Presbyterian minister, has finally decided to tell what he claims to have witnessed. At this moment, we have only his word.
We went down together, and I had about 25 decision papers because Mitchell had been so sort of off track with these other issues. So we meet in the morning, and we go through the first 24, and they're typical campaign decisions about polling, advertising, whatever.
The day was Thursday, March 30th, 1972. Attorney General Mitchell, the head of the campaign to re-elect the president, met with his deputy, Magruder. Gordon Liddy's proposal to bug the telephone of the chairman of the National Democratic Party, Larry O'Brien, was the last item they discussed.
We didn't like the idea. It was going to the Watergate Democratic National Committee headquarters and bugging Larry O'Brien's phone. So Mitchell said, call Haldeman and find out, do we really have to, is this really important? So I call Haldeman, and he talks to me, and I say, we're not sure it's worth doing. And Haldeman said, yes, the president wants it done. He said, is John there? And I said, yes. And I give the phone to John, and Haldeman talks to him. And then the president comes on the line and talks to Mitchell. I could hear the president talking to him, and it was simply, John, we need to get the information on Larry O'Brien. The only way we can do that is through Liddy's plan, and you need to do that. Nixon was saying, we want Liddy to break into the Watergate. Mitchell gets off the phone and says to me, he says, well, Jeb, tell Maurice Stans to give Liddy $250,000 and let's see what happens.